There's one thing that everybody has in common: we all have a body. But the part we're particularly interested in are bones and muscles. We want to know what happens to your muscles when you want to make them bigger, or what happens to your muscles when they get smaller, for example, if you've been injured, if you're ill.
So if you imagine somebody who has lost their muscle function as a result of injury or disease, for a minor injury, a typical surgical procedure might be that they will have a tissue graft, and that works very well, but obviously it involves damaging another healthy piece of tissue in the body. Think of a car crash or maybe a battlefield scenario where a large amount of tissue is lost, then that becomes even more challenging because we don't have a natural donor site where we can get a large volume of tissue from. So we now need to look in that scenario at other alternative tissue sources.
We can take your muscle and we can then grow it in the laboratory, and then we can do to it what you would do to your own muscles, like going to the gym, going for a run, sitting down, or if you took certain drugs which would affect different parts of your body, we can see the effect of that on the tissues we create in the laboratory so that we can use it to understand how you might respond to different types of physiotherapy or drugs, for example.
This is how we make the tissues. We start with a cell source that can come from a muscle biopsy or a skin swab, and we culture them up in one of these tissue culture flasks. We can then put our cells in with a matrix such as collagen into what is essentially a glorified jelly mold. In each of those molds, we have two pins that act as pseudo bones that hold our tissues in place. And then in order to mimic muscles that you would find in a human being, we fast track that developmental process by exercising them or taking them through a gym regime. And we do this by providing either electrical impulses from these electrodes or by mechanically stretching the tissues, elongating them and shortening them.
The really exciting end goal for this work is that we could take your muscle tissue, we could grow it in the laboratory, and then we'd have a way of understanding if we needed to give you a physiotherapy regime, for example, something which would be bespoke and exactly right for you.